How do I know I get the balance tomorrow?
My God, it's in writing.
Oh, well, all right. So long as you get that portrait out of here before 5 o'clock.
That's what I'm going to do.
And I'll watch that. No, fuck.
Please excuse me for interrupting Dr. Haggett, but it's time for my train. I had to tell you that much as I hate denying you what you asked.
I knew it would be all right, Abby. I knew it would be. And here's the $50 that I promised you, Abby. And God bless you, Abby.
What's that man doing with my portrait?
Taking it to New York, Abby, to exhibit it, where everybody will come to look at it.
What right have you got to take my portrait away?
Well, I've never paid more for a ride in my life.
It belongs to me.
How's that?
It belongs to me.
Well, Abby, what are you in here for anyway? Did anyone call you in here? Well, what's come over you?
I came in here to say goodbye and pick up my portrait, and I see him fixing to go off with it.
You just sold it to me?
I never.
You have the $50 in your hand.
Dr. Haggett, don't tell me you're trying to...
Take this money, I'll take it! You said you wanted my picture to remember me by. I said I'd think about giving it to you. Well, I have thought, and I ain't never going to part with it. And you're fixing to sell it behind my back. I'd be ashamed.
Abby.
I would be ashamed.
This house is mine, and everything in it is mine, and you're my paid help.
For God's sakes, Dr. Haggett.
My portrait ain't yours.
If you would just step into the kitchen for a moment, please, Mr. Davenport, while I explain something quickly to Abby. There won't be any more difficulty. Just 5 minutes, Hannah.
Damn it, Doctor. I just gave you a check.
No, don't get upset, Mr. Rosen. There's just a little misunderstanding here. You haven't shown much gratitude, Abby, for all the things that we've done for you throughout all these years.
I can't help it, Dr. Haggett. I won't part with my portrait.
I was just setting up to have such a nice surprise for you.
And I caught you at it, and I'd be ashamed.
You think I was trying to do something sneaky?
Sneaky and greedy. I knew your wife and Ada was both greedy, but I never knew you was.
Abby, how could you say that of me when I was only just trying to make some money for you? I don't mean that $50. That was just for fun. I was going to offer you $1,000, Abby. $1,000.
And you was going to sell it, but get it by selling my portrait.
People in your circumstances ain't got the right to own things that are worth so much money.
And maybe my portrait's all I got in the world. The boy who painted it. I ain't ashamed to say it now. It's so long ago. I loved him, and I still love him, and he died just after he finished painting it, so it's the last thing he ever painted. That's why it means so much to me. It means all the happiness I ever had. And you know I ain't had so much, Dr. Haggett. If you'll excuse me, I have to catch my train.
Abby, you're just thinking about yourself. Think about your brother and his 2 children, Abby. He's a poor man, Abby.
I know he is.
Ain't got work now.
I know that.
And you'll all be poor out there in Chicago.
I can't help it, Doctor.
And his children. Wouldn't you want to give them advantages?
But I promised Crispine I'd never part with my portrait. The last time I seen him, I promised him he painted it for me.
Now who's being greedy now, Abby? Who did your brother's children was being
Don't
greedy?
get after me, let me do it.
Now, you ain't thought of something else, Abby. That portrait ain't belonging to you. It was time I paid for when you went and sat with Chris when you ought to have been working.
It ain't so. I worked every minute he was painting, every minute. I remember how we used to sit out in that barn, me working and him painting.
And you used to bring him hot coffee to drink.
I never. You know how Mrs. Haggett watched that coffee? That was my own breakfast coffee that I saved for him and brought out to him. It was all I ever had to give him. My coffee was. There now, what more meanness can you think of?
I'll be honest with you, Abby. Honesty is the best policy after all. They want to pay me $25,000 for your portrait, Abby. Divide it with me, Abby. Take half and give me half. If it weren't for me, you'd have none of it.
No.
Take more than half. Take $15,000. Now just think of what your family could do with $15,000.
No, I
Take $20,000. Greed, Abby, greed.
It ain't greed. I would take $1 million. You ought to be ashamed.
I am.
Now will you let me go?
Yes. God help me, I have to let you go.
He was so poor, Chris was. never had no good coat, no nothing warm, just that one sweater I knitted for him. He never had a warm room to sleep in or nothing he needed. He was so poor. If he could have afforded to go away from here, he needn't have died. We used to pray we'd get an early thaw just for Chris's sake. How is it a man dies so poor when he painted pictures that are worth so much?
Because no one had any use for his pictures while he was living.
I always liked them. That's why I kept so many of them. Not just because he painted them, I thought.
You kept so many?
Yeah, I kept them.
Where did you get them?
Mrs. Haggett, she put them on the bonfire and I took them off.
Where are they now?
In my suitcase, they're rolled up, but they're okay, I looked.
How many are there?
17 of them?
17? Abby, she said... Ada! Hannah! Mr. Rosen, come back in here!
What is it, Milton, huh?
Good God, what now?
Never mind about the portrait. The other pictures have been found. What? No! The ones you burnt, Hannah. Only you didn't burn them. Abby's got them in a suitcase. And there's 17 of them.
17? No, Christopher B.
It's a fortune, Milton.
Set that suitcase down and open it.
Yeah, but I just roped it up.
Well, unrope it. You got yourself a knife, ain't you?
Well, maybe this is my train, Dr. Haggett.
Oh, talk about trains at a time like this.
There. Now, all right, happy.
Better let me, Dr. Haggett. I don't want folks to go messing about with my suitcase.
There. All right. Now, Mr. Rosen, I'll talk business with you.
Excuse me, Dr. Haggett, but I'm the picture dealer here. Well, Dr. Haggett, I wasn't prepared for any such deal as this.
Carefully now. Don't harm them.
How much would you say that one's worth, Mr. Davenport?
I don't know.
Will you run up
Promise
my
you,
try
tell
for
me.
me again before?
Is it worth 10,000?
Easily, I should say.
You hear that, Hannah? 10,000 easy for the one on the very top, and 17 of them.
Oh, we're rich, Ma, we're rich.
Oh.
It seems like we must be, but it kind of gets my stomach.
Were you aiming to sell those two, Dr.
Well,
Haggett?
what's that?
The hill pasture. It must be the hill pasture.
Certainly it's the hill pasture.
I saved those from burning. I thought they were mine to keep.
Oh, look.
Excuse me, Doctor, but before we talk business, I got to know if you really are the rightful owner this time.
Well, if he ain't, who would
You
be?
gave me your words of honor that I was the right one.
Yes,
and what they left here against an unpaid bill?
I expect they do belong to him.
Yeah, you see?
Well, like I say, I never tackled anything this big before, but a corner I'm Christopher Bean, though.
Let's look through the rest.
Goodbye,
That's
Dr.
what
Haggett. I'm
it
coming now.
is, Mr. Rosen, a corner.
My train will be going, Dr. Haggett.
I wouldn't be in any hurry to sell, Doctor. Not the lot, anyway.
Well, I wasn't figuring on that, Mr. Davenport.
Bye, Ada. Goodbye, Mrs.
Well,
Haggett.
he must have a couple 100,000 on this pile.
Goodbye. I got to go now.
I don't know, though. I might get the deal financed. Would you give me time?
Don't know about giving time.
I guess I'll just go. I guess there ain't nothing else to do.
Schmidt might come in on this, and then there's Goldstein. I could put him down for him. Tell you what, Doctor, suppose you keep that check for a 30-day option.
Well, if you set a price on the lot now, but a fair price, mind you.
So let me figure up.
You go right ahead, Mr. Rosen. We ain't gonna stop you, I'll figure it.
Oh, Abby, you're not going, are you?
Yeah, I'm going. I tried to say goodbye, but they're so busy.
May I have just one word with you about your portrait? Now, I'm not trying to take it from you, but Abby, a work of art like that is a responsibility. It's yours, but it's only yours in trust for the future. Take it with you to Chicago by all means, but when you get there, don't keep it where it won't be safe. Lend it to the Chicago Art Institute. Well, you could go and see it every day, you know. Would you do that, Abby?
I think about it.
180,000.
You said 200.
I appeal to Mr. Davenport.
Please, Abby. I know it's more than a work of art to you. I know the bond that must have existed between you and Chris Bean when he painted it.
Bond? Carrying on, if you call that a bond.
Mr. Davenport, he was the only man ever asked me to marry him.
You didn't marry him, though, Abby?
He was so sick I couldn't refuse him nothing.
Then you're his widow.
I know I am.
She's got to prove it. She's got to prove it. Well, she's got the proof, eh? I believe that you can.
I certainly believe she can.
Certainly I can. I have my marriage lines and my wedding ring. Look!
Leave her alone.
Why didn't you just listen to
I give up. Certainly turn it out. Just like we're being